Fight me.
This is the Rob Tobor Show.
Power room, power room. Danton, what's wrong down there? Danton! He doesn't answer. You think serious, Captain? Reach at the fuel locker. 5 pounds of descending will go and kick us right out of space.
As Atlantis takes her last flight in space, I'd like to look back and thank the crews and the shuttles that flew so proudly. The Enterprise, Columbia, Challenger, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour. You flew for over 30 years. Only 2 were lost, the Columbia and the Challenger, and considering the hundreds of flights that took place, that was pretty good odds. We look back fondly and will always remember the service that this program did for our country. So once again, guys, thank you. Thank you to the people who built these ships, who serviced these ships, who flew in these ships. You guys reached up and you touched the face of God. You won't be forgotten.
You know, there's this guy that we used to four-wheel with called Murphy, and everybody goes, yeah, Murphy's Law, Murphy's Law. You know, that's the way things are. But I swear to God, this guy, if he didn't have any bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck at all. And one day he was in working on his Jeep, and he was trying to troubleshoot some things. Bottom line is, he gets in there and he starts it up in low gear, thinking that, he just wants to, he'll be able to catch it or stop it or whatever. He gets pinned between the Jeep and the wall, and it's trying to run him over. And he's sitting there screaming, and I guess his son comes out and saves him. But after that, people are saying, well, that's worthy of a Murphy Award. So later on, when we were four-wheeling, if every year we'd have our annual get-together at the Tierra del Sol, and we give out this trophy that they put together. It has a bottle of Goldschlager, a little miniature bottle of Goldschlager on it, and it's an actual trophy. And then on the top of it, it has a little metal figurine of a Jeep, and it has little brass plaques on it with the year and the name of the person that won it that year.
Right.
And so, it's called the Trophy for Alcohol-Fueled Stupidity. And they'd have to get up. They'd have to get up and tell the story. And, of course, Murphy was the one that started it off. But then another year they had these guys, they always go out on night runs, and it never ends well. The guys go out on night runs, okay, after they've been drinking in camp, hammering back the Goldschlager. Oh, let's go out for a night run. It's like, oh, God. Let's go up to the calcite mine. You know where it is? Yeah, I know about where it is. So they get up there, and sure enough, somebody drives their Jeep down this vertical mine shaft. So it's usually like stuck in there. and I don't know how they keep from getting killed. The thing like hangs up on the dashboard or whatever, but they ended up pulling them back out. So a couple of those Murphy Awards went to people driving down the calcite mine. Because the next year, what happens? yeah, so-and-so went up there and drove down the mine. How stupid is that? You know, so they drive up there, and the person that's going to show them where the mine is that the guy drove in, drives into it.
He found it.
I never go to the calcite mine. It's like, nope, you guys go all you want. I'm not going up there. Oh, one year we were on the Morongo Sheriff's run, and I think it was son of Murphy. I think it was actually his son. He had a Jeep, and he gets out to Johnson Valley, where we're going to do the Morongo Sheriff's run, right? And he loaded the Jeep up on the trailer, and he put the key in it and turned it so he could turn the wheels, but he pulled the key out. So
no.
He pulled the key out so that it's, you know, the wheels will still turn, but the keys in Jeeps, they come out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he gets there, and it's like, oh, damn, I left the keys at home. But don't worry, I can still start it because it's halfway turned on. So he's like, okay, just remember, we're just not going to turn it off. So we get in there, and he starts up, and we're driving along, and we get to the first checkpoint, and he turns it off. So it's like, does anybody know how to pick a lock? Anybody want to hotwire this thing? And so we're asking the sheriffs, you know anybody here that's a criminal that can pick the lock? And so they're looking at it like, you guys are nuts. So finally, after everybody, you know, somebody says, well, I saw in a movie once where you could put a screwdriver in it. So they put the screwdriver in it, and they break it off, and then they go in there, and then they take a hammer and they break the tumbler thing off of it, and then it's like, well, we can't get in there far enough to get it, so they take a hatchet to the steering column. On this, and the Jeep's not that old, and they're in there, and I've got pictures. I got my camera out because you know what? Nobody's going to believe this. So I'm taking pictures of this guy taking a hatchet to his Jeep. So he gets in there, and they finally get the thing hacked back enough where they can get a pair of needle nose pliers in there to start it. So we go on the trail, and everything's fine. We get back to camp, and he opens up the ashtray.
There's the keys.
There's the keys.
Yes.
So he got a Murphy Award for that, I believe. I think Jeff got one year for, he was goofing around with the campfire and fell into it and caught fire.
Alcohol-fueled
stupidity.
Stupidity.
Yes. The Murphy Award.
Yeah, I'd like to say I haven't done a few things like that, but none of them are documented.
Well, you know, Murphy actually gave up on driving four-wheel drives. He thought that, you know, it's kind of dangerous. He's outnumbered 4-1 on wheels, you know. He's got four wheels against him. So.
Well, after my car tried to kill me, that would be enough for me.
Well, he traded all of his 4x stuff in for a motorcycle.
Well, then he'll just kill himself.
Well, you'd think. But he had decided that he was going to go to Sturgis. Right? Bought a motorcycle, going to Sturgis. So he loaded everything up. And this guy, I mean, you know, when he's packing his Jeep and everything, he just throws the sleeping bags in there, and he's driving down the trail, and of course it's ejecting all his gear as he drives down the trail. Hasn't got a clue how to pack. So he packs a motorcycle, okay? And everything's just tied on there, Grapes of Wrath style, sleeping bags, pots, pans, you name it. So he's loaded up, the motorcycle's like, you know, sagging and dragging, he's going down the road. And he's driving down the road, and you know, Mr. Easy Rider headed to Sturgis, and people are coming by and waving at him. He's waving back, going, "Sturgis!" Yeah, you know, and they're waving at him, and he's waving back, and more and more people are coming by, and they're waving at him, and he's going, "Yeah, Sturgis, baby!" So he's driving along, and finally this guy in a big truck comes along, blowing his horn, and he's going, "Sturgis!" It's like the guy's waving at him and won't pass him, and he starts coming over into his lane. He's like, Murphy's freaking out. Whoa, what the hell? So the guy forces him off the road. Finally, Murphy starts feeling a little bit of heat coming in from the back of him.
Oh, no.
Apparently, his sleeping bag came undone, went on the exhaust pipe, caught fire, and he's been driving down the road with 30-foot flames out the back of his motorcycle. And people have been trying to wave him down, and he's just going, Sturgis! And it's like, he's on fire. So he's on fire. The guy gets out of the truck, runs over, wrestles him to the ground, and beats the flames out. But meanwhile, the bike goes up in flames. Well, that's the end of Sturgis and the bike. So I think that, he finally got another Murphy Award for that.
Oh, no.
In the future, I'd like to look at what I would call a Renaissance man. His name was Bob Clay. Bob Clay didn't have much of an education, but that never got in his way. During the Depression and the years after, he became a boxer, demolition derby driver, a racer, a miner, an oil wildcatter, an inventor, held many patents. He rode the rails to get to California when he couldn't get here any other way. And yeah, when he died a fairly comfortable individual. And once again, this was a gentleman who didn't have a lot of education. He did it himself. America needs more people like this. The world needs more people like this. When times got tough, Bob Clay got to work. Whether he was driving, or boxing, or inventing, he always found a better way to do it. We need more Bob Clays. I think we can learn a lot from this model. Never give up, and keep your foot on the pedal. And that's the end of show number 1. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you want to listen to show number 2. As we get better at this, hopefully we will have more and more material to work with. The shows will get longer, and we will be working our way up to video at some point, but right now the logistics are a little bit tough. Some of the people involved in the production are not in the same area, and getting cameras to them be a little difficult at this point. We do thank you for listening, and we hope you come back.